Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time. So I know I put 50 plus, but age is just a number. But you get the understanding of what it is. As we age, as all of us age, there are certain things that we need to do for our health all the time. And I know that there's a lot of confusion, especially in senior citizens, how to be healthy. You have the generation below you trying to tell you to eat brown bread and to do different things all the time, and just adding more and more confusion. But in fact, we study the lives of people in their 70s and 80s and 90s, and we look how healthy they are compared to our current generation, in terms of their parameters, diabetes, heart disease, and all of that stuff. And there is so much that we learn from senior citizens over the years, from your lifestyles, from the lifestyles your parents have led. And the common question today is people over the age of 50 and 60. A lot of them are on a laundry list of medications, in and out of the hospital all the time. And something is drastically wrong because considering the world that we're living in today, we have more medicine, we have more doctors, we have more nutritionists, more gyms, more special foods, more health foods, all of that stuff. Then why are we sick? Why are we getting sicker and sicker? I think as people gracefully age, we should be able to enjoy our lives. That's the time for you to enjoy your lives. And to enjoy your lives, you need your health. You need good health. Whether you want to travel, whether you want to spend time with your children, your grandchildren, all of these things require good health. But sadly, today, that health is deteriorating. And like I said, we have people in their early 50s who are unable to get out of their chair without assistance. We have people in their 40s and 50s with sciatica problems, back problems, which limits the quality of your life. And it doesn't have to be there. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. And today I thought I would use the next 30 to 45 minutes to, give you a couple of tips on simple lifestyle changes and things that you can do to enjoy the next 30, 40, or 50 years that you have. Okay, the first thing is the mindset about age. I work between the US, I work between London, Dubai, India, and every country has a different mindset. So for example, Europeans, Americans, as they age, they see that time in their life, the kids are out of the house. So they look at that time as traveling more, enjoying their lives, doing things that they never did before. In India, the mentality seems to be a little bit different. We think that as we age, things have to stop for us. As things age, we need to stop exercising. We need to spend more time in front of the television. And, so we actually, if our mindset is that aging means doing less, that's exactly how we'll be. What we believe is exactly how the body follows. But we have to think the opposite. We need to be thinking that at the age of 80 or at the age of 85, how can I be active? How can I travel? How can I, lift up my grandchildren, play with them? But most mindsets, when I counsel people, they're like, oh, Luke, but by 50, our joints will start paining. Most women in 30, in 44 or 45 will be, oh, Luke, menopause will come. There's like 6 to 7 years left for menopause. But they think that menopause is going to come earlier, and it does, because whatever you believe happens. A lot of people start predicting that post the age of 40, the metabolism falls, you start gaining fat. It doesn't have to be that way. That is not true. Yes, it is true that our metabolism falls and we may lose a little bit of muscle mass, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be handled. It doesn't mean that we have to put on weight. It doesn't mean we have to lose more weight. It doesn't mean our hormones have to start acting up. Today, young men in their 35s, 38, 40, they start having enlarged prostates. And that's a really bad thing, because usually an enlarged prostate should hit us by about, if it's going to hit us, should hit us by about 50 or 60 years old. But it's coming so early because people's lifestyles have changed. So how can we prevent this? Whatever age you are at right now, what are the little things that you can do that do not cost you money, that are not expensive, that can immediately start boosting your health? The first is your mindset. You need to ask yourself, and if you're in your 50s right now, what is the quality of life that you want 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years, 20 years down the line? A lot of people grow up with the expectation that they'll become a liability to their children and their children will look after them. But today the world is changing. The same parents who have sent their children abroad to study and make a career, they don't come back. And then there's so much of stress in Indian families where you don't have people to look after yourselves and all of that thing. My point is, why are we even dependent on that? We should learn to become self-sufficient. It's great if we have family to look after us. It's great if we have support to look after us. But every human being should have that one mindset that I should be self-sufficient. And for that, I need my health. I need to maintain my joints, my muscles, my hormones, everything if I want to stay healthy. So I think the first thing is change your mindset. Getting older doesn't mean getting sicker. There's absolutely zero connection. Today, you have the sickest people in their 20s and 30s because of the amount of stress they have in their life, the amount of junk food they eat all the time. They deprive themselves of sleep. They don't exercise. They're in front of the computer or their work. So they're losing their health because of their lifestyle. It doesn't have to be the same way for you. When you look at your parents and you compare the health of yourselves with your parents, you'll notice that that generation was way healthier and stronger than us. Of course, people still died of diseases and stuff like that, but there weren't any lifestyle diseases like we have today. So a lifestyle disease means it was caused by poor lifestyle, which also means it can be fixed by making a change in our lifestyle. It is never too late to make a change. I know a lot of people who at the age of about 45, 50, they'll stop smoking. And they'll say, you know, Luke, I don't know if it's too late. It's not too late. It is never too late because the human body is resilient and the human body has the ability to repair itself. So I'm trying to call over 4 verticals. If you can maintain these 4 verticals, you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do anything complicated. It just requires a little bit of self-discipline. And you need to keep doing these things on a daily basis as far as possible. The first vertical is nutrition. Doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to spend a lot of money on superfoods and all of these things that our generation is doing. You have to remember that the previous generations managed with the simplest of foods and they had better lifestyles and better health than all of us. So when it comes to your nutrition, I think it is so important for you all to be aware of your vitamin D3 levels and your B12 levels. Your B12, your D3, and your iron, especially for women, iron. For men, B12 and D3. If you have a deficiency of these vitamins and iron, okay, it will deteriorate your lifestyle. Today, I think most elderly people are scared of dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and all of us think, oh, is it going to happen or not? Let me tell you, it is highly preventable. Okay, cognitive brain disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia is highly preventable. We don't look at the root cause of what causes these things. You know, for your brain health, your cognitive health, as we age, we want our brains to be sharper, but they get duller and duller. We start having memory problems. We lose control because we haven't been using it the right way. We have to understand that your vitamin B12 levels are connected with your brain health. Now, over the years, a lot of people have had low B12 levels, which is why I'm asking you to get these levels checked. If not once a year, at least twice a year. Because if you have a deficiency in this, it's going to cause a lot of problems. I'll give you an example. We have so many patients who have come to us saying, hey, Luke, you know, our doctors told us to do a knee surgery, a knee replacement, a hip replacement, all of that stuff. I'm not against any of these replacements unless you really need it, like an accident victim or an athlete who's, you know, gotten injured. But most people who came to us, we looked at their blood tests and their D3 was like in levels of 3 and 4 and 5. Obviously, they would have pains in their hip, their back, their knees. We fixed their vitamin D3 levels and in a month, all their pains have disappeared. So you need to see that even a deficiency can cause so many other problems. And then you go and there's a complicated surgery or a complicated approach, okay, that you undergo without understanding that even a slight nutritional deficiency has caused the problem for you. So please look at your B12 levels, please look at your D3 levels, and women and men, your iron levels. If you have a deficiency of iron, your hemoglobin levels, your ferritin levels, that's going to be the reason why you're constantly tired. You're constantly feeling dizzy, or, you know, you can't get up from the bed very quickly and all of that stuff, because hemoglobin, iron, it transfers oxygen to all of our cells. If we lack in that, we're going to have so many other problems because of the lack of oxygen. So it is important, number one, to look at these levels. If they are low, you need to fix it. Extremely, extremely important that you need to fix it. Now, as we age, men and women will lose muscle mass. That's why we find ourselves getting thinner. You know, we may not lose too much of body fat, but we lose muscle mass. And that's why it is so important for you to maintain your protein. I'm not here to tell you that you have to take protein shakes or anything like that. But when you have your breakfast, when you have your lunch, when you have your dinner, there must be proteins in it. You cannot just have a carb meal. You cannot just have a meal that has fats and carbs, but no protein. If you decrease your protein, you will lose muscle mass faster. And because you lose muscle mass faster, you know, you're more prone to bone issues, fractures, you know, osteoporosis. weakness, tiredness, inability to get through your day. And then you have other issues like massive hair fall, your skin kind of gets very, very elastic. So you want to make sure that you're eating the right amount of protein. And there are so many sources of protein where you don't have to spend money on. For non-vegetarians, you have it in your eggs, you have it in your seafood, you have it in your fish. For vegetarians, you have it in your dals, your lentils, your rajmas, your chanas, your nuts, your seeds. So there's enough of protein available. You just got to do a job of making sure that every meal that you eat has some amount of protein. That's extremely, extremely important. Don't overdo it on salt. A lot of our taste buds change as we age. So we start increasing the amount of sugar and salt. The more sugar and salt you increase, the more you are going to deteriorate your health. There is no doubt about that. From blood pressure problems to diabetes. And like I said, you should not be getting sicker as you age. It's as simple as that. So watch your salt intake. Don't eat too much of salt. Cut down your salt. It's a good habit to have a mix of white salt and pink salt, rock salt and pink salt. So buy both of them, mix it together, and use that in your food. Of course, if you have a severe thyroid problem or goiter, then you want to only use iodized salt. But make it simple. Another beautiful change that you can make are your cooking oils. Now, at a time probably of your parents, everyone used cold-pressed oils naturally. You would take a coconut, you would take mustard seeds, you would take peanuts, you would go to the village mill, press it out in the oil, and those oils were the healthiest. But over the last couple of years, the markets changed and we got hit with refined oils. The moment refined oils hit our market, we saw an increase in cardiovascular problems, heart attacks, strokes, cardiac arrests, and all of these issues to do with the heart and inflammation. Refined oils are bad for your health. Please understand that. If you are able to shift to pure cold-pressed oils, whether it's your sunflower oil, mustard oil, coconut oil, whatever it is, or pure ghee, these are cooking mediums for you, which are great for your heart as well as great for your brain. Even using pure ghee. Coconut oil is like a medicine for the brain, literally for your joints, for your brain. So if you don't cook in coconut oil, try to consume at least a teaspoon daily. I can't tell you the right proportion because I don't know your weight and your height, but that's why it's always easier to cook in coconut oil, at least most of your food, so that you're taking in coconut oil, which is great for your immune system, your brain, your thyroid function, your metabolism. It's antibacterial, antifungal. It's like a miracle medicine out there. So coconut oil contains two ingredients, lauric acid and caprylic acid. The only other food that contains lauric acid is breast milk. And that's why mothers feed their children to boost their immunity. So you can't go wrong with coconut oil. All of our patients who have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, we put them on a protocol of coconut oil, and their brain health, their memory, everything gets better. So please understand the importance of the quality of your cooking oil. I know we've all had it, including myself, for the last maybe 30, 35 years. I've only recently changed to that because as we gain knowledge and we realize how we've been fooled over the years by smart marketing, clever advertising, and we don't see how disease has also increased when we made these changes. So you want to make a change in that. Sugar. I understand everyone likes something sweet. I'm not here to tell you not to enjoy your life. But the more sugar that you eat, the more and the quicker your health will deteriorate. We have jaggery, we have pure honey, we have so many other sweet versions. The thing is, you may have your 1 teaspoon of sugar in your morning chai. You may have it in your second cup of chai. But the problem is there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is we eat so much of hidden sugar in other products, in cookies and cakes and pastries. So many junk food packets have hidden sugar. So over time, our overconsumption of sugar increases, and that really creates inflammation in our body. So like right now, if you want to make a change, it's your oil, it's your salt, it's your sugar. By monitoring this, you will make sure that you can prevent a lot of inflammation and inflammatory diseases in your body. Your water intake. A lot of people are dehydrated. 3 glasses of water, 4 glasses of water, 5 glasses of water. That's not enough for you. Even a 1% drop of hydration levels in your body will cause your immune system to malfunction. So you got to be like, for India, most states, anywhere between 10 to 12 glasses of water is great for you. So that's literally 1 cup an hour, and you should be done by early afternoon. Space it out over the day. Make sure that you have at least 10 to 12 glasses of water daily. That's extremely important for you. Now, milk and wheat, dairy and gluten. A lot of y'all will be hearing that today people are going off gluten and going off dairy. There's nothing wrong with wheat and there's nothing wrong with milk. Unfortunately, the quality of milk and the quality of wheat has changed over the years. Otherwise, India is a country where the staple was wheat and people didn't have problems. But the processing of wheat, everything has changed, and the gluten molecule has become really, really strong, affecting us. And a lot of us also have acidity, bloating, constipation. Our gut health is very weak. So we cannot break down the gluten molecule. And that's where wheat and milk causes a big problem for us. So anytime if you feel that you have discomfort in your, stomach, you're having bloating, flatulence, constipation, you have arthritis, your energy levels are low, I would say for about 10 days, just stop wheat, anything with gluten and dairy completely, and notice the change that happens. In that time, you'll notice that your energy levels increase, your pains will become lesser and lesser because you've cut out the inflammatory food that was causing the problem. Along with that, you got to limit your sugar. So as you do all of this, you feel better. And then you know that, okay, these are the foods I got to be really, really careful of. A lot of people suffering from arthritis, the pains can get better when you eat the right food and you refrain from the wrong food. It's as simple as that. Pure ghee. You cannot go wrong with pure ghee. A lot of people say you get heart disease with pure ghee. That's not true anymore. You get heart disease with too much of white sugar. You get heart disease with too much of junk food, too much of processed food, sedentary lifestyles, sleep deprivation. All of that causes heart attacks and cholesterol problems and everything else. Using ghee in moderation is one of the best cooking mediums. It also works as a medicine for your gut, keeping your gut really, really healthy. So you can't go wrong with pure ghee. If you're confused about which oils to use, or you don't want to move to cold pressed oils, use homemade ghee or get really good ghees that are available in the market, and you can cook over there. So nutrition has to be simple. The more outside food you eat, the more problems you will have. Please understand that. Outside food, people don't care about the quality of oil, the quantity of oil, salt, sugar, all of that stuff. Their job is to make the food taste good so that you go back and eat over and over again, but it destroys your health over time. It is not natural for human beings to have all their meals outside, especially when we've grown up in a country where most of our food is home food. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 meals out is fine, but at least 90% of your meals should be home cooked meals. Now, an ideal day would look like you must have at least 2 to 3 fruits. You must have some green vegetable or some vegetable. You must have your carbohydrates, which are good grains, like your red rice, your brown rice, or even white rice mixed with dal is absolutely fine. White rice mixed with your rajma, your chana, that's absolutely fine. You want to have protein, either vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Nuts and seeds, things like almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. These are great for your health. So if you see, these are all simple things that make up a balanced diet. If you have this, you will be fine. You don't have to get onto fancy diets that deprive you of the basic nutrition that your body requires. So when it comes to nutrition, keep it simple. It's really, really simple. Now, I want to talk to you about fasting as well, because fasting is incredible. Don't get into 16, 18, 20 hours. It's not necessary. If you want to see an immediate change in your health, one of the things that you could do is try to have an earlier dinner. If you can finish your dinner by maybe 6:30 or 7 or 7:30, and then don't eat for the next 12 hours. Wake up, and 12 hours later, have your next meal. So that's usually after sunrise. So if I finish my dinner at 7 in the evening, I would eat my breakfast at 7 at night. You give your body 12 hours of a fasting time. That fasting time, your body's using energy to repair, to heal you, to recover, to boost your immunity, reduce inflammation. So it's literally therapeutic. If you can keep that 12-hour gap, it is fantastic for you. We also call it an anti-aging tool, because a lot of people age way before their age. They're 55, but they look 65. They're 40, but they look 50. That's because we have chronic inflammation in our bodies. So if you can master simple fasting, don't push yourself. The first day you may do 9 hours. The next day you may do 10. The following day you may reach 12 hours. Try it. Try it. It's really good. If you can fast at least 4 out of 7 days or 5 out of 7 days. I know people in their 80s who are fasting every single day because it's become a habit. You will be stronger and you will be healthier. So that is the beauty of fasting. Now, let's come to the next vertical, which is exercise. I think from my experience dealing with thousands of patients around the world, if you lack movement, if you are sedentary, your joints and muscles are going to stop supporting you early in life. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Luke, but I have knee pain and I have calf pain. that doesn't mean you stop walking. That doesn't mean you stop exercising. First, check if your D3 levels are low, check if your muscles have gotten too tight, but you should walk, even if it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and eventually bring it up to 30 minutes. But anyone over the age of 50, if you can keep 30 to 45 minutes of physical activity, it could be yoga, it could be dance, it could be walking, something as simple as that. You can wait. If you lift weights, that's even better for you because you maintain your muscle mass. But 6 out of 7 days, you need activity. If you can do this, your health is going to be really super strong. But if you think that as we age, we need to sit more, lie down more, all of that stuff, you are highly mistaken. The healthiest people in their 90s and 95s are highly active. They accumulate about 10,000 steps of walk every single day by default. Yoga is excellent. As we age, our body gets tighter, our muscles get tighter, our joints get stiffer. And if we allow that to continue, we will lose the use of that at some point, which is why walking, yoga, any movement improves our flexibility. Now, simple yoga, I'm sure anywhere you live, there would be a yoga class happening or a yoga teacher. You can go online, you can look at videos, but try to look up your local community where there are yoga classes and join a class after lockdown. Then once you learn the stretches and once you learn the asanas on your own, you can do it on your own at home. With yoga, you will also learn pranayama. Pranayama is so important for you. As we age, our lungs get weaker and weaker. If we want to prolong the health of our lungs, something called MBE, that is morning breathing exercises. You should wake up, sit on the edge of your bed or on a chair or in a comfortable place in your house, and the first 10 to 15 minutes, you should breathe. You should engage in deep breathing every day. Make it a religion. Make it a habit. It could be simple, inhale, exhale, anilom vilom, whatever breathing suits you. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare a kit for you and we're going to mail that to you. Simple asanas that you can do, simple breathing exercises, foods that you should be eating every day. We'll give you a simple chart. Just make sure that you're using 1 or 2 foods from there. And that's all you really need to do for your nutrition and your exercise. Of course, if you have a disease, your nutrition changes according to that, but we're not talking about that right now. So try to get activity. You feel more lethargic and tired and fatigued if you're sedentary. So get up and move. Do not be sitting in one place too long. The longer you sit, the more pressure you put on your lower back and your sciatica. And then you'll have to keep going for physiotherapy classes. And why do you want to live with that pain? If you keep your joints mobile, your muscles being used, then these pains slowly disappear over time. You have to believe that you can get better. People in their 70s and 80s today walk, do yoga, and they are absolutely fit. Do 30 minutes a day, but get movement into your life. It is so important. As you age, we need to move more. We have to be more active because our bodies require us to be more active. So that's to do with exercise, as simple as that. And let me stress again on breathing exercises. No matter what breathing style you have, every morning when you wake up, engage in 10 to 15 minutes of breathing. If you want to go to the loo first, brush your teeth, pass your motions, that's fine. But do your breathing exercises before you start your day. And I promise you, this will keep you going for a very long time with a good quality life. Because if your lungs give up on you, you can't get oxygen to reach trillions of cells in the human body. That's when your organs start to fail and everything starts deteriorating. So it is so important for us to maintain the lungs that control oxygen and carbon dioxide, the respiratory system working well in our body. Let's come to the next cycle, which is sleep. The previous generations had a lot of discipline with sleep. Okay, at least Monday to Friday, they went to sleep at the same time. They woke up at the same time. Weekends, Friday night, Saturday night, go out, enjoy, do what you want. But you need to understand that all the repair work, all your immunity, all your hormones, your rejuvenation, growth is happening while you sleep. So if you compromise your sleep, you will age rapidly. Your pains will get more. Your sugar levels will be out of control. Women will have more and more hormonal issues. So you got to focus on your sleep no matter what. I know there's Netflix, there are TV programs that keep us distracted, but you got to be disciplined. You can still watch TV, you can still watch movies, but when it's your bedtime, you need to go to bed at the same time every day. At least 6 out of 7 days or 5 out of 7 days in a week. Especially if you're suffering from a disease, be it cancer, diabetes, or anything, all the more reason you need to work on your sleep, because all the healing is only going to happen while you sleep. There is no healing that happens while you are awake. It is always while you sleep. Your immune system gets stronger while you sleep. So watch your Netflix, watch your TV programs, but by 10:30, 11, the best sleep, the best time to sleep is 10:30, 11, 2 hours before midnight. Okay, that's why we follow a biological clock. There's a circadian rhythm, so try to go to sleep at least 6 out of 7, 5 out of 7 days, and try to wake up with sunrise. The moment you wake up, at least you can't go out of the house, look outside the window, connect with the sun or bright light around you that resets your melatonin cycles. In fact, all of you, I think tomorrow I'm doing a beautiful session on a new way to live. And people who will be able to follow that will change their lifestyles and disease dramatically. It doesn't cost any money, just a little bit of discipline. So you may want to register for that session. It's called A New Way to Live tomorrow. It talks a lot about sleep cycles and everything else. Anyway, going back to sleep, please get your sleep in order. The easiest way to train yourself into sleep is trying to go to sleep at the same time every day, not looking at the TV or the phone at least 1 hour before bedtime. I think men and women both have to understand that melatonin is a hormone that puts us to sleep, but it's suppressed by bright light. Melatonin also helps us prevent cancer cells from becoming cancerous. It also helps our immune system to get stronger, which is why when you're sleep deprived, you fall sick very easily because you have suppressed melatonin. So melatonin is a hormone that boosts your immunity and plays a huge role in your prevention and healing from cancer. So please get your sleep in order. 10 minutes to 15 minutes before bedtime. It's a great habit to do a little bit of meditation, your prayers, your spirituality, or simple deep breathing exercises. Again, disconnect your mind from the day and go to sleep. So it's as simple when it comes to sleep. Now let's talk about the fourth vertical, which is really destroying lives around the world. And that is stress, emotional stress. Now we need to understand everyone has stress. Everyone has stress. But after a particular point, we also have to understand the truth that our body, our mind, and our heart is not designed to carry and take the kind of stress that we have in today's world. We think we can, just because we have comforts, just because we have access to technology, we think there can be more stress in our life. But no, the human body is the same. The size of computer chips and memory chips, that's changed, that's expandable. But the human brain, the human heart, and the human body is the same. And the amount of stress that we put it through results in the amount of disease and unhappiness that we have. You've crossed 50 years in your life. You've done your bit. You're doing your bit. When are you going to start enjoying your life? When are you going to stop being attached to stress? And I understand people come and say, Luke, but kids today are kids. We're worried about them. Let me tell you something. This is in all the spiritual books. And you should always remember this because it really helps you to detach from stress that we are constantly attached to, even if it's our kids, even if it's our aging parents or whatever it is. The moment you have given birth to a child, or you were given birth to as a child, the moment the cord was cut, the umbilical cord was cut, okay, that child is on their own journey. You as a parent can nurture them, educate them, give them security when they're children, like animals. Look at birds. They're not with them throughout a lifetime. They nurture them and then they fly off. Okay? The beauty of human beings is we stay in touch with our offspring. Once the cord is cut, they are on their own life path. There is nothing that you can do to control them. You may be able to use emotional control, all of that stuff to get your way. But today you've seen kids, so many kids have changed their path completely. They only did it because their parents wanted it. But when they grew at a particular age, they've changed. They've given up all their education, whatever they learned, their stream, their field, and they've gone and done something that they truly love. We need to understand that attachment is dangerous for us. I'm not saying that you should be detached from your children, but we have to understand that they are now on their own life path. They are on their own life path. All you can do is pray for them, nurture them, be there for them. You can't control them. You can't control their destiny. You can't control their path. And most stress that is caused in life is because of our want to control. We want to control how our kids will be. We want to control how life should be, how our friends should be, how our family members should be, how our business should run, all of that stuff. And when we don't have control, because nothing is ever in our control, we start getting stressed, anxious, fear, which usually stems from being out of control. Now, you can't help it. I know so many parents who have made a decision to send their kids to the US and London to study. And every single day they're stressed. What's going to happen to my kid? Is my kid gone home early? Is my kid doing drugs? Is my kid doing alcohol? You got to cut off. All your worrying is not going to change anything. If your kids are going to do drugs, they're going to do drugs irrespective if you worry or not. Okay, if something bad's going to happen to them, your worrying can't stop that. You need to channel that energy into maybe prayer, intend for them to be safe, intend for them to have a great life. But you can't be attached with control. That is what brings stress. And after the age of 40 to 50, like I said, the human body isn't designed for the amount of stress that we have. When is it ever going to end? But we have to start living lives with trust. You know, most people move on to a spiritual path and they start following spiritual paths or religion as they age. Every single religion teaches you three things: belief, faith, and surrender. Okay, if you can't do these three things, you're trying to control the outcome of what you've prayed for. You're trying to control the outcome of what you intend for. It never works that way. Every religion teaches you, say your prayer or make your wish, have belief that it will be fulfilled in the best way possible, have faith it's going to happen, and surrender. That means don't try to control it. Don't try to check every day what is happening. Is my prayer answered? No. Every spiritual path teaches you belief, faith, and surrender. It's about time we start practicing it right now. But there are too many people who are so stressed at the age and time in life when they should be enjoying and reaping the benefits of what they've earned, what they have, traveling. You know, I like that about the Europeans and Americans. The moment the kids are off, they retire, they enjoy their lives. They travel every week. They do different things and stuff like that. But over here, a lot of Indians just sit at home with an empty nest syndrome, you know, following their kids everywhere they go. A lot of kids don't like their parents following, but they just don't have the heart to tell them. They're like, we have our own life now. We want our privacy. We want our independence. You have to realize that. You have to realize that at all, which is why I say when you're a young parent, spend as much of time as your kid with your kids, because at some point they are going to have a life of their own, and you can't start chasing them because you've not made your life and you have an empty nest syndrome all the time. You have to realize that. But I'm talking about the point of stress and anxiety. This ruins your health. This creates more inflammation. So, you know, you got to start learning to meditate, your pranayama, the spiritual books, whatever your path is, or if you have a business or a passion, start following that. Start following that. You've given rise to a great family. Your family is always going to be with you, which is why I tell a lot of parents today, y'all put yourselves in a position for families to be separated. You know, all this thing of sending your kids abroad to study. I mean, most of y'all didn't have that opportunity to study abroad. Not that I'm against it. I'm just trying to show you the irony of this, because we counsel patients all the time. Most of you never studied abroad. I didn't study abroad. Your parents didn't study abroad. Y'all have made it in life. You'll have great lives. Everything is fine. So I'm just saying, it's just because the herd started moving that way, everyone thought, oh, I'm a great parent if I send my kid abroad to study. So many kids don't want to go abroad to study, but we send them because it's become a kind of status thing. Remember, when you do that, you are separating your family. You are. Your kids now go and they get exposed to a new culture and a new life. They may marry there, they may stay there, but they may never want to come back to your country. So there's always going to be a separation in your family. And that's not natural. So, you know, we should weigh the pros and cons of what we do. There is no data showing that a kid that studied abroad has an advantage over a kid who's over here. At the same time, to each his own, But the kind of stress that people in their post-40s and 50s have when their kids leave them is deeply rooted emotional stress. No one wants to be away from their families. Absolutely no one. I have a daughter right now who's 6 years old. And I don't even have the slightest doubt about what I'm going to do when she's big. If she wants to go abroad and study, we discuss it at that point. If she's going to stay here and wants to be here, she'll be here. Because for me, it's how close can the family stay for the longest period of time. It's as simple as that. That is what is important to me. Because it is difficult after a particular age when your kids leave you and go. Everyone has a path. Everyone does. But if you've chosen that path, then you've got to learn to detach from it. You can't let it stress you out because you made that decision. You made that choice. So stress and anxiety is real. You got to invest in your health. At this stage, have friends, go out, become members of clubs, have evenings out, play cards, do things that make you happy. You shouldn't be sitting at home by the phone. I know so many senior citizens who have compromised their sleep because of the time difference between the US and India. They wait at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning to speak to their kids every single day. You are spoiling your health. You are spoiling your health. You need to understand that that's not okay. It is not okay for your health. I know you want to speak to your kids, arrange timings differently, or do it maybe twice a week or whatever it is, but this has to change. That constant anxiety, your kids are going to be fine. Most kids don't want to be spoken to every day. Face it. Because these same kids come and tell me, Luke, please tell our parents to back off. We know they love us, but please, we're independent. If we need anything, we'll reach out to them. So sometimes our own fears and our own securities start projecting in a different way, and then we start affecting everyone else's lives and our own. So when it comes to emotional wellness, a lot of people have gone through a tough life. I know so many women in their 60s who have been sexually abused as children by their own uncles, by servants, by drivers until the age of 50 and 60. They cannot come to terms with it. Then they need counseling. They start counseling, they talk about it, they face their fears because it was always suppressed. And then all of a sudden they come back and they say, Luke, I feel happy for the first time in my life. Sadly, they're 63 and 64, but at least they have more years to enjoy. So we need to face our emotional distress. Whatever it is that we've gone through, we need to face that pain. We have to learn how to forgive, let go of grudges, anger, envy, hatred, property fights, in-law fights. All of these things are negative viruses that literally destroy health and destroy families. And it's prevalent. It exists in families across the country. And I'm like, what is the point of living an entire life? And even after your 50s and 60s, you're involved in court cases, family matters, and all of that stuff. When is it going to stop? And that is why it is so important for us to ground ourselves. Whether, I don't want to use the word religiously or spiritually, but when you're grounded within you, you start to know what are the important things in life to you. Joy, love, family, memories. These little things are more important than envy, pride, ego, fighting for property, doing all of these things, not forgiving someone, holding those grudges in. We begin to realize that. That's why you see as you age, people tend to become more spiritual, because after a while, the things that could stimulate them when they were younger don't stimulate them anymore. Partying, going out, fancy cars, fancy handbags, it loses its shine. And then at some point, we all have to reconnect within. And then we have nothing to stimulate us. We become bored, we become depressed, we start chasing our children, trying to spend more time with them, all of that stuff, which becomes a huge stress. But when you're grounded, you start enjoying simple things in life. There's a beautiful Harvard study that talks about the things that make people the happiest in their entire lifespan, post 40, 50, 60, 70, and money isn't one of them. So the Harvard study came up with 5 things. One was the 5 things that make people the happiest and keep stress at bay. One was memories. Make memories in life. Okay, when you are old, when you are aging, it is the memories that you look back on that make you smile, that make you happy. So 1 was memories. 2 was your health, of course. You have great health, you will enjoy your life. You will gracefully age. If you have ill health, you're always suffering, you're always negative, so invest in your health. The 3rd thing was giving back. Giving back makes most people happy, truly happy from their heart. Doesn't mean money. You've got 50 years of life experience. Maybe you want to mentor someone. What was your skill? You can mentor someone, you can teach children, you can adopt a few kids that you, not real adoption, but where you can teach them, put them under your wing, make them into model citizens, help them come up the learning curve. There are so many ways you can give back other than just writing a check. That makes people truly happy. Then was family. Of course, family makes us happy, whether it's your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your children, your wife, your spouse, and then, of course, intimate relationships. These were 5 things that mattered. And although this was a Harvard study, I'll tell you it's true, because in my line of work, I get to talk to dying patients because my line of work is cancer. I get to talk to dying patients every week. Until date, over the last 10 years, not one of them talk about their position in a company, how much money they have, who their enemies were. They don't talk about anything like that. They talk about memories, they talk about love, they talk about their children, they talk about family and all of that stuff. So that is true. Learn to focus on the small things. You lived your life. You've given your 100%. Now you got to surrender. Be there for your children. Be there for whoever you have to, but you got to surrender. You can't let the stress of other people's lives pull you down. It's as simple as that. This is your life. And by looking after you, you become an asset to your family and to your kids and everyone else. But people who become highly sick soon become a liability. I don't mean a liability in a disrespectful way, but you understand a lot of sick parents out there. Luke, I feel so guilty because my son has to come home early every day and spend money on me, and my daughter can't work properly and spend time with her kids because I'm sick and they're looking after me. So you see, it comes with a lot of guilt. Of course, your family will come to you when you need them, when you need them. But then they start having guilt. You start having guilt because you're taking them away from their lives. So all this can be prevented when we invest in our health. Simple things. I think a lot of people today are struggling to be happy. We cannot be happy when our hearts and our mind is constantly filled with fear, with ego, with pride, with attachment, and all of these things. We need to let go, and we have to start focusing on the smaller things in life that makes us happy. Look at the generation below you. Use it as a simple example to motivate yourself. The generation below you has way more than y'all ever had. Way more than your parents had, way more than we have right now. They've had everything, almost everything given to them on a silver platter. They have entertainment, they have luxuries, they have wealth, they have the best educations, exotic holidays, four times a year, 3 times a year, okay? But the generation below right now is at its saddest point. The most cases of depression, suicides, unhappiness, broken relationships, broken marriages over and over again. You know, something's wrong. All of these things was not what the generation needed. They needed to live on the simple things in life and have it all, have abundance, have luxury. I'm not saying that, but we thought that that was the only thing that is required. It is the simplest things. They need values. They need love from parents. They need love from people. They need respect. Every human being today is craving for attention. They're craving for acknowledgement, appreciation, love, all of these things, which luxury and all the material things that I just mentioned cannot give. It cannot fulfill those voids. So we can learn from that, and we can look at our lives right now and start saying, enough. 50 years of my life have passed. I have the next 50, 40, 30 years. What am I going to do with this? How am I going to change my emotional health? How am I going to invest in my health so I can enjoy my life? You know how many people in their 60s and 70s, they worked hard their life, they have a couple of crores saved up. They don't have the health to even enjoy that money. They can't travel because of their kidney disease. They can't travel because of their back problems. And, you know, then it makes you feel you worked an entire lifetime for what? So all I'm saying is achieve all you need to do, but invest in your health. There is no point compromising your health for money and material things, because at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world, but it may not be able to change your disease. It may not be able to take the suffering away from the pain that you're going through. It may not be able to increase the quality of your life. I always give my patients a simple example. You may be a patient suffering in pain in a government hospital. You may be that same patient suffering in pain in a 7-star hospital with luxury. The difference is the luxury. The similarity is you still have pain. You still have suffering. The only difference is comfort. So invest in your health. What I spoke to you today is the simplest thing that you need to do. Okay? You do not need to do superfoods. Let me give you an example of my parents, my mom and dad. We grew up on white bread because we didn't know what brown bread was. Brown bread came way, way later. We grew up on white sliced bread. Okay? Every single day of our lives as children, and my parents ate it as well. We turned out to be healthy, no diabetes, no fun, absolutely none of that stuff. As I got into my line of nutrition, you can predict what I did. I went home, I told my mom and dad, stop having white bread. I got brown bread for them. I tried to change everything around and stuff like that. And then one fine day I realized, hey, listen, my parents, touch wood, have no disease. They're in their 70s right now. They were eating this all their life. They had a simple life. They're happy people. They exercise. They get exposure to nature. You know, what am I trying to do? Why am I trying to change a system that doesn't need change? So today they've gone back to white bread. They've gone back to everything. They made small changes like they don't indulge in extra sugar, all of that stuff. But my whole point is, if you lived your entire life a particular way and you are healthy right now, you don't have to change that. Don't make it more complicated. Continue to live that way. Continue to live that way. Your body's probably gotten so used to it. But if you have a disease and you have a condition and you have to make certain dietary changes, then of course you need to make that. But don't be stressed out to look around and see everyone's changing and drinking green smoothies every day and stuff like that. You don't have to do that for additional health. It is not necessary. If you're good right now, you're in a good space where your health is, don't change it. Simplify your life. Enjoy your abundance. Enjoy the wealth that you created if you have it. Live simply. The most important thing is when I look at the lifestyles of people in their 90s, they were active, they ate simple food, they slept well every night, and they were happy people, period. That is the prescription I have today to give all of you senior citizens. It's actually the same prescription for the younger generation. But you see, the younger generation is immature. So you got to use a lot more fancy words, throw in a few superfoods here and there, make them feel important and all of that stuff. But the prescription for human health is simplicity in living. Simple food, simple movement and exercise that you enjoy that makes you feel good, quality sleep, and taking control of your stress levels. If you're able to do this, enjoy your days. Don't put age as a number and that you're aging, you're going to get sick, you're going to get these problems. We got to be more cautious. You got to do your medical tests at least once a year because prevention is always better than cure. Simple medical tests, we'll even send you a list of the basic tests that you should do. Do that once a year, you know you're all good, and take it easy. Health care has become super complicated, but the statistics don't match it. The statistics are more and worse year on year. Go back to simple living. If home remedies work for you, use home remedies. Use the remedies that your grandparents gave you. You know, a lot of our cancer patients all over the world today, they are surviving and getting into remission using home remedies. We're not doing anything complicated for them. We're not doing anything fancy for them. Simplicity is the magic drug. So I hope all of you have a good takeaway from this call. We'll send you a kit with simple things that you can do. You don't have to spend a lot of money on your health, okay? If you can maintain these 4 verticals in your life, you know, you will invest in your body's intelligence. And it is your body's intelligence that looks after you. If you abuse that intelligence in your body, you have disease that comes into you very, very quickly. And even if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s right now, and you may have diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, high blood pressure, please know it is possible for you to reverse it. You just got to start doing it the right way. Unfortunately, the generations taught everyone that a lot of people have to be on medication for a lifetime, which was a huge lie. Today, we're seeing how people are reversing their type 2 diabetes. People are putting cancers in remissions. People are getting off high blood pressure pills. Their doctors are taking them off the medication because they no longer require it. They made lifestyle changes. So change your mindset. You know, every generation has a very fixed mindset. Sometimes we got to look at that mindset and say, this mindset was put into us when we were kids. Maybe this particular mindset has to change now. Because when we change our belief system and our mindset, we start reprogramming our subconscious mind. Remember something about the subconscious mind. I'm also going to send you a beautiful video on the power of visualization, the power of music, little things that will really change your life. We have a subconscious mind. So if you believe that thyroid medication, I have to die with it, you know, have it for a lifetime, your body's going to be reliant on it. But suddenly your subconscious mind changes and say, hey, this is not a lifetime medicine for me. I need to change my lifestyle and get off the pill. Your body will start moving in that direction. Your subconscious mind is very, very powerful. Your mind is very, very powerful. So I'll send you a separate video on that you can watch, but invest in the power of your mind. You know, you can use that to even control the outcome of life, your children. There are so many people who visualize their children happy, their children find the right partners, you know, you age gracefully. They invest energy in visualizing the best. But most of us invest energy in visualizing the worst. What's going to happen to my kid? Is he going to get sick? You know, will the wrong partner come into his life? What's going to happen? Is he going to do drugs? It's a wasted emotion. Worry and fear are wasted emotions. They cannot change any outcome. So the moment you start worrying and getting anxious, change your thought from worry and anxious to something that is good, something that you can intend for. You can intend for the best for all your kids. Okay, you can give them the best life, but they go through the worst marriage. They go through the worst phase. So all you can do really, that's whatever is in your control, is intend. Pray for them. Intend for people. Intend the best for people. Investing in the negative emotion of worry or fear is a wasted emotion, and it makes you sick. So how you visualize is a whole separate topic. We will send you a detailed video, which you must watch and you must learn. Thank you everyone for your time, and stay healthy.